the millennial generation starting to give up because they can't afford to get a good job or own a house.
8 million Venezuelans voting for this assembly, saying it's actually less than 3.
It is. And people are going to start rioting in the streets.
Was reported to have asked Putin for military support that would help him stay in power.
We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
And they ignore him. And 8 more years goes by till Bernie himself finally admits to his sons, hey, I've been running a Ponzi scheme.
Does its dominance mean it can use the alliance for its own ends?
Since 1981, bond yields, also known as coupon rates, have just gone down and down and down.
The Federal Reserve note will be your biggest financial liability. RTD Live Talk. It's Thursday night, the 15th day of the month of November. We're live. Looking forward to finding out what's on your mind. More importantly, what's been going on. Had a couple days away from the computer due to the fact that I was out of town, so I couldn't really get to my live streams and get to the news like I would have liked to. But we're here now, so let's make the most of this time. My name is Mike, the host of RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 late night YouTube channel. And we're here to find out what's happening in your world, or more importantly, what's happening in this global economy. So, as always, welcome. If we have any new viewers, feel free to let me know where you're watching us from over here in the chat. Or, more importantly, there's a number above my head, 1-833-LIVE-RTD. That number's for you to call in and let your voice be heard. So, other than that, let's dive into today's topics. A lot of things has happened over the last couple of days. Everything from the price of precious metals dipping below what would be, yearly lows, or for the most part, a couple year lows probably. Crypto market taking a little dive. What else? We got sanctions on 17 Saudi Arabia business officials and possibly 5 people, associated with the murder of that Saudi American journalist, probably going to get the death penalty. And what else? We got the very first migrant caravan touch base in Tijuana. And so they're jumping over the fence there. And so much things going on. But definitely want to find out what's going on in your world. So feel free to let me know via the chat or the call in. So either one. I want to actually touch off on what seems to be getting the most attention. And it has to do with the idea that just this week, earlier this week, silver prices dipped below the $14 mark. I think I saw something about a $13.97, and then I think I saw $11.97 in gold or something like that. So definitely, and also stocks is plummeting. Yeah, so it's a lot of stuff happening right now, and so it's really exciting depending on how you look at it. You can look at it from a dark perspective of like, oh, the world's coming to an end, or you can take the viewpoint that it could be a great opportunity to get your weight up, get a little heavier in some things that are on sale. Or you can just sit on the sidelines and wait for it to come to your front door. Whatever works best for you. So, got a question. It says stocks are plummeting. Retail stores, holiday sales not coming in. PG&E stock tanked because they may be linked to the cause of the California fire. Yeah, Philman, that is going to be interesting. And so, on a note similar to that, the whole lure of getting more shoppers into the stores in the next 45 days or so, or actually the next 45 days or so, give or take, the Christmas holiday season. But anyone, if you've paid close attention to any of the commercials, especially over the weekend during game time, whether it be football or basketball, whatever it might be, anything sound familiar in reference to the rebranding of the holiday season? And so if everybody, if you paid attention to the last couple of years, especially the last decade, especially, there's been this big push to remove the word Christmas from commercials, as if like, that nothing associated with Christ and, Mass, Christmas was tolerable. But now I've saw at least 2 or 3 commercials back to back to back, mentioning, hey, it's Christmas season. Get out there and, get this deal, get that deal. This Christmas. I'm thinking like, huh? I thought it was, holiday season. That's what everybody wanted to run with. So I wonder if that has anything to do with trying to connect with the older population to bring back the idea of Christmas and get that Christmas spirit going and get people out there spending. So just a little side note I wanted to mention. So make sure you guys pay attention to the words Christmas being reintroduced into the commercial ads. I believe is a way to get the older population out there spending again. So let me know your thoughts in the description, in the comment section, rather, if you agree or do not disagree. But as far as the stocks plummeting, I'm aware of that happening, but I'm used to it now, to where I'm thinking at this point, even if you look at actually speaking with Dunnigan Kaiser last night, he referenced the idea of, getting away from the term mainstream media and more so, labeling it, corporate media, because they're all owned by corporate institutions promoting the best interests of what's, for the corporations rather. And so just watching the corporate media, one thing I noticed was just today especially, I saw several articles or videos from Fox News referencing, them quoting different hedge fund managers and financial advisors, asking their advice on what to do in this turbulent time frame of the markets dropping. And of course, I yet to see one financial analyst, financial advisor, head manager, portfolio manager reference the need to probably take some time off from this market and withdraw a little bit or something like that. I saw the mainstream narrative of it's too early, stay in it for the long haul, ride this thing out. It was just so much stuff. I'm thinking like, this is considered professional advice. And in the meantime, all the big money, all the big people who know about what's happening has already left the markets, in a sense, to where only people left in there now are the uninformed and uneducated, and those that are, I guess, doubling down. And I found out today, I guess, from this particular hedge fund manager, what the actual expectations are, because it's always been up in the air rather. But he was saying that the reason people aren't able to save for their retirement because they're not putting the accurate amount aside of their annual income. And so I guess the going rate of putting aside out of your annual income is 15%. And so they said that if you put 15% of your annual income into your investment portfolio, that by the time you look to withdraw 35 years from now, you'll be able to retire off of the equivalent of 85% of your current income level at that time. And then, of course, a lot of red flags went up. I'm thinking, like, how is this guy able to actually look ahead beyond this current market, nevertheless 30 years from now, and tell people that if they set aside 15% today, that they'll be able to withdraw 85% roughly of their income equivalent in that time frame now. And in my mind, of course, if you're watching Rethinking the Dollar, I would imagine that you can agree that we may not be using the Federal Reserve note as that instrument to withdraw your retirement from. And so if that is the case, then it's good to say that using a new currency or new measuring tool, you will have lost everything that you've saved in the Federal Reserve denominated notes. But that's just my opinion. I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't give my professional advice, but I can give you an opinion based upon history, and I wouldn't listen to that gentleman. Just my 2 cents. But what else going on here? It says, what up, doe? It says, for thousands of years I lay dormant. Who has disturbed my rest? It says, you're the man, redneck. What's up, my friend? Thoughts on GE? Home Rocks. Good point, man. I actually been watching GE for quite a while, and I knew they were going belly up, but I haven't been paying attention as of lately. But what I've gathered is the fact that they are in major problems and is just beginning. But we have a call, so let's get to the call. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hello? Hold on one second. Give me a second. Hello, anybody?
Hey, Mike, man, this is Dave from San Jose, man. Mr. Get Your Weight Up himself.
How you doing, sir? Dave from San Jose. What's on your mind tonight, my friend?
Yes, I want
to do me a favor. Do me a favor. Mute the computer, and then cut your volume up a little bit more in your mic, because I got you turned all the way up here, but I can barely hear you.
You got it. You got it. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you. Go ahead. What's going on? How you doing tonight, my friend?
Good, good. Mike, hey, I sent you a video about the thing called All the Planetary Men. In that video, All the Planetary is called PLAN.
Okay.
PLENARY. All the Planetary Men.
Okay.
That video's on YouTube right now, and I recommend everybody in your community to watch that because it tells you exactly why the too big to fail became too big to jail. Because we have a group of men who are over everybody. When I say over everybody, I mean they're above the law. When they try to arrest, when they just had this recent thing in the J.P. Morgan where they arrested that little management guy, and it was like, oh, he's just a low group.
Yeah.
Well, that's the highest guy that they can get, Mike. That's the highest guy that they can go to because everybody else above them is a plenary men, and these guys are above the law. That's why Eric Holden came out and said we cannot jail them. Why? Because it's like if me and you formed a club, Mike, and in the club we said any member of our club cannot be arrested.
Yeah.
Now, what authority is that club under? What authority did that give to? The only authority that club has is they can print money, Mike, and we can't.
Very true. Very true.
That is why those guys are on top. But the name of the video is called All the Plenary Men.
All the plenary men. So, do me a favor. Once we're done talking about that, a couple people in the chat requested that you type that into the chat. So if you don't mind, type that into the chat so people can click on it and get a chance to watch it as well.
Yes, bro, because once you watch that, you understand that why that little guy got caught. Why did they arrest that guy? They gave him 30 years, man. 30 years they giving this guy.
They gave him 30. I didn't know about that.
He even confessed. Yes, he even confessed. He even said, I learned it from my boss. My bosses taught me this. So why did they go after him? It's like they go after the guy. It's the same thing like when they go after the guy in the street corner selling drugs. Why didn't they go after the big guy?
Yeah.
The guy that's bringing stuff in for Colombia.
Yeah.
Why is the little guy in the corner getting busted? It's the same thing. Those big people are part of this plenary club.
Yeah, I do agree, man.
George Carlin said it best. It's a big club, and we're not in it.
Very true.
It's a big club, they used to beat us over the head.
Yeah. Hey, man, that's some good stuff, man. I appreciate you sharing that. I'm going to check that out.
You got it. I've been getting my weight up, too. I've been seeing nations been getting their weight up.
Oh, yeah, definitely so. And watch
getting their weight up.
Everybody getting their weight up, man. And that's the season. That's clearly a sign that, you know, regardless of what's going on around you, if you're getting your weight up, you in good company. You're doing what the big boys are doing, so I don't think you can go wrong. And speaking of which, I'm going to touch on that a little bit in a minute. Well, appreciate you, my friend.
Right now when I hang up with you.
All right, thanks. Appreciate you.
I've been working nights. That's why I ain't been calling in. It's like I've been having before, but because I'm working nights. But I'm off tonight because I'm in San Francisco, and they got these wildfires, and they shut my job down, bro.
Oh, baby. Oh, that's rough.
They said it was over 200 parts per million, whatever, and it's in the purple, which is unhealthy. So, yeah, man, these fires are a real thing out here, bro.
Yeah, we're going to touch on that too, man. I appreciate you mentioning that because there's so many things going on. I didn't even think about the fires, and so we're going to get to that tonight as well. So I appreciate you, my friend. Feel free to chime in on the chat if you want to touch on that some more.
One more thing, thing, I'm going to let you go.
Go ahead.
When you look at them pictures of fires, I only got one question for you. How come them leaves and them trees are still green? The house burnt to a crisp, white ash, everything, refrigerator, washing machine, just humps of metal.
Yeah.
A tree 10 feet away, it's green with leaves on it.
Yeah.
Mike, if you put a lighter underneath a leaf, it crumbles.
Yeah.
It defends itself. These leaves are just open like it's just a spring day. I don't know, man. I ain't saying nothing, but I'm looking with my eyes and something ain't adding up.
Right, and I would assume that, you know, that fire had some help. If things of nature is not dry and dead, it shouldn't burn as easily or at all the way it looks like it is. So it's probably a little bit of help out there in those woods to keep this thing going. So I actually haven't even looked at it lately myself. So, but yeah, I'm gonna touch on that tonight though. So thank you, my friend. Appreciate you.
Mike, check RT News. They did a report that one of the fires is over a super fund. That nobody knew about. It was classified, and it was only because of this fire everybody's finding out there was the worst nuclear disaster in American history happened right there in California. Nobody knows about it because it was classified, and now the fire is burning over this super fund. How you like that, bro?
Yeah, do me a favor.
RT News reported that. Rick Sanchez.
Do me a favor. post that link in the chat as well for people to click on that and read it. So both the video and the link, if you don't mind, post that in the chat for us. Thank you.
I'm going right now, Mike.
All right, appreciate you. Yeah. Bye. Yeah, man, that's real talk, man. A lot of stuff is happening. I mean, just a lot of stuff ain't adding up. And so Wellness 81, yeah, I had the volume all the way up. I was trying to get the mic as close as I could to his phone, but the volume wasn't all that. But he was mentioning about how the fire's out there, and he's going to post a link in the video to a video and a link so you guys can check on it. But some very good information, man, that's coming from someone who's, you know, in tune and keeping his eyes open. So, but he was saying how the California fires, that in certain areas there, you know, the blaze is burning so strong in areas where it's not dried out, it's not ideal for a fire to continue to just ravage through homes or whatnot. And so my comment was, it looks like it's, you know, the blaze is getting a little bit of help from what, I'm not sure, but yeah, that's something else. But he also recommended a video that explains why the whole silver manipulation and some things of that nature, why the gentleman who confessed to rigging, manipulating the markets got 30 years. And he mentioned that he learned everything from his boss, but I guess his boss was, you know, didn't get anything. So that's what it is. But go from there. Says, Mike, got my gram of gold. Congrats, Hambone. Congratulations, man. Yeah, I'm going to keep saying it. You know, I was looking at the price of, you know, how gold dipped below 12. I think it was like 11.97. I looked at it for a quick minute. I'm thinking like, man, I'm definitely, you know, I'm just going to have to get me another gram myself. So definitely, guys, this month, we got 15 more days left in the month of November, and it's Get Your Weight Up month. I'm doing the best I can to keep preaching it to the high heels of everybody. Get your gram. You get dealer call, and when the price of gold go down, the gram gets cheaper. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you can get it for under $50 more than likely. So, man, take advantage of it while it's still available. But talk about the stock market. I was talking about the stocks a minute ago. Don't pay attention to it. I don't really participate in that stuff just because, you know, and I'm going to actually share with you something that I posted in the that I mean, I really need people to understand this. I'm going to share this with you because it has to do with John Exter, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, a former central banker who was a Fed board of governor, economist, all that good stuff. How he came out with a visual aid that I think everybody should be more in tune with, and it has to do with I'm going to actually pull up on my screen here, but this pyramid here. Actually, I'm going to just go this way. This pyramid, to me, says it all, because when you have the primary central banker telling you exactly the types of risk, and that the further you get away from what is considered historical and sound and true money, because of the fact that it has no counterparty risk, there's no chance of precious metals being an asset that can be defaulted upon if it's physically in your possession. And so in doing a little homework over the last couple of days, really trying to figure out how to really get more people to take this to heart here. Like this image here, I'm going to link this image here with every form of metal story I can come up with, just because if people truly understood this graph here in relation to the idea that at the very bottom of here, as you guys see, it says silver, total above ground silver, and I'm not sure how old this is, but you know, it says it's 0.024 billion basically worth of silver above ground. And then if you go further over, it's about 6.4, give or take, trillion dollars, gold above ground. And then everything outside of precious metals is a risky asset / liability to somebody. Somebody out here has a claim to it, and somebody out here probably leased it or have a derivative or a claim to it in the form of some type of certificate or something of that nature. So everything above precious metals is somebody's liability while also being an asset. Hence the idea that in the same category here, the whole idea of stocks and equities and whatnot fall into the same category. It's somebody's asset while being someone's liability, puts you at risk like no other could ever imagine, because there's so many different factors that lie between the completion or the fulfillment of that promise. And so Yeah, man, this stuff right here is going to be real important for you guys to pay attention to. So if you actually understood how big of a educational piece this could be, you wouldn't, I personally, anything below the gold, predominantly gold and silver, has no default risk. Because if you have it physically in your hand, it is recognized all over this planet as being an asset no matter what. But if it's not in your hands, then you run into the risk of, can you get it when you need it? Can you get claimed to? Can you get hold of it? And then everything above that. And then the next category is base money, fiat currency, savings, checking, deposits, all lie in this green area here. And so that right there have risk to it because it's the bank's asset and it's your liability once you turn over your funds to the bank. And so it's so many different variations of risk in between that. So just something to keep in mind, people. I want to definitely let you guys know what that's all about. But I felt led to share that with you guys. As always, the phone lines are open. Feel free to call and let me know what's on your mind. Let me get back into the chat and see if I'm missing any questions. It says, why try to analyze a rigged market? That's foolish. Yeah, and so, but here's the thing. Depending on who's doing the analyzing, because if you are a corporate media personality, it's in your best interest to analyze the markets to keep people confident in the idea of continuing to put their money into it. But if you're in an alternative sense where we're at currently, I wouldn't even begin to care to analyze the markets because I know the final outcome of this current monetary system. So to me, all these are just tremors in the bigger picture to some type of complete disaster of some kind, some type of, I think it's Doug Casey, or it was Rick Rule, mentioned about we're in the eye of the storm right now. And if we're in the eye of a storm, it means everything around us is unstable. And, only people who actually can hold their own are people who have physical weight. But that's just my opinion there. So we have another caller. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm Bonnie. I'm calling from Bay City. I have a question. If you would happen to know anything about the bank bail-ins, or if that applies to credit unions?
Ooh, Bonnie, good question there. Thanks for calling. Bay City area, Michigan. Now, apart from the Dodd-Frank bill, there's a section in there that gives the, I want to say, the FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, somewhat of a leading status to begin the unraveling process and oversee the resolution of the depositors and the different tiers of creditors to the bank. So they're gonna take charge of that. And so I know with credit unions, I want to say it's not the FDIC, but it's the I think they may fall under the insurance portion, but there's another let me see, is the NC, there's another insurance company, let me actually look this up, that
thank you,
insures credit unions outside of the FDIC, but I'm not 100% sure. But I would imagine that it'll be very difficult for the too big to fail banks and the big commercial banks to go under and it not to impact the credit unions. And so this is just all my guess, but I would imagine that the too big to fail banks would want everyone to go under so that they're not the ones that's being pointed at as the reason for it going under. So I can imagine that the smaller banks will be impacted as well. But once again, I can't guarantee that or say that to be true, but I would assume that there will be no safe place to actually avoid any type of currency or bank type of situation. But what I'm looking at here says the credit union insurance. I'll pull it up on the screen. And it says what is it? It says the National Credit Union Administration is the independent agency that administers the National Credit Union Shares Insurance Fund. And so let me click on that. And I would imagine it's a same as the FDIC, just a smaller version because credit unions tend to be smaller. And it says the federal insured credit unions offer a safe place for you to save your money with deposit insured up to at least $250,000 per individual depositor. The National Credit Union Administration is the independent agency that administers the National Credit Union Share Insurance Fund. like the FDIC's Deposit Insurance Fund, the NCUSIF is a federal insurance fund backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government. So with that little definition there, the NCUSIF is backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government, which lets me know that A, there's no cash there. So if they need to replace some funds that are lost, they're going to be doing some printing to kind of meet the demands there, which would spell problems anyway because of the hyperinflationary environment of expanding the monetary supply. So with that being the case, I would imagine, without even looking at their books, because you can actually look at the FDIC's balance sheet and see that their balance sheet probably has $50 or $60 billion in it, but they're insuring trillions, which wouldn't be enough to cover all losses. So I would imagine that the NCUSIF is probably no better off, I would imagine. But once again, I can't guarantee you that, but that's just my opinion.
Okay.
And so,
well, thank you so much.
Yeah, so with that being the case,
I've been trying to get information on it, but it's
I would say take that NCUSIF, Google it, dive deeper into their website and try to look at their balance sheet and see what they hold on assets and liabilities, and just dive a little further into it. But I would imagine they're no better off than the FDIC, to where when things hits the fan, there's more promises than that could be lived up to, in my opinion. So hope that's of help to you.
Okay, yes, it was. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you calling in.
Enjoy your show.
Thank you. I appreciate you calling in. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Very good question there. Very good question there. And once again, this is all just my opinion based upon using history and using a little bit of what I consider uncommon sense, looking ahead in the future, not really seeing how this all will play out, given the fact that there's more promises that have been given than can actually be met. And so that's what it is. But once again, do your own homework, do your own research for your own information there. It says, let me see. It says, I would give my link, but not sure if RD allows that. What are we talking about here? Decreases says what Carrot Bars you can save in physical gold. So yeah, if Carrot Bars wise, whoever mentioned about Carrot Bars, if you want to get involved, feel free to share your link. I don't mind. I am involved in Carrot Bar, but I don't personally want to put it out there as like another alternative, just because, as I mentioned with this graph here, in regards to the risk pyramid aspect, it's one of them things where, if you ain't got it in your hands, there's risk in between you and it, where I personally feel comfortable more so with being able to hold something in my physical hand. So, but feel free to share the link. If people want to get involved, definitely diversify however you feel suitable. And what else we got here? It says they coming from Germany. I know what your thoughts are on written or spoken word versus outcomes. What's your thoughts on written or spoken word versus outcomes? New York Redneck, shine a little light on me for that. It says, look at Venezuela. It takes millions of bolivars to buy what used to be 10-ounce bolivars. And then speaking of which, if you guys, just touching on Venezuela, they look to repatriate their gold, but they're not getting it back from the UK. So the question is, why are they not able to get back their gold? So that's another thing where the Venezuelan government was told that they have bullion in the vaults there, but it's good to say that Venezuelans' gold is gone because they used it to supply the market, basically saying we can screw over the Venezuelan people because they're already under sanctions, and they're never going to come under the window that would be tolerated by the U.S. So their gold is gone, in my opinion. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, brother? This is Ricardo Hamilton, man. I was talking about Carrot Bars.
Yes, sir. How you doing, Ricardo, my friend? Appreciate you for calling in. What's on your mind tonight?
Yeah, so I just want to clarify some things. I'm glad you had mentioned it. I wasn't sure if you was an affiliate or not.
Mm-hmm.
But Carrot Bars actually does deliver the physical gold to your home via FedEx.
Yeah. Okay.
And I heard you had mentioned one of those things. The other thing about it is I was putting in the chat, and I think that this is the most important thing I think people should realize is that when Iran got cut off of the SWIFT payment system, at the behest of the United States, you know, the United States showed that no matter if you disagree with them, they will cut you off from their payment system. And what blockchain technology and what cryptocurrency is allowing countries, institutions, and businesses to do is actually go around the SWIFT payment system in the use of the dollar. And Karatbars International right now has created a cryptocurrency that's backed by physical gold. And they have created the first ever cryptocurrency bank that's in Miami right now with ATMs they're getting ready to deploy worldwide in a physical gold payment system. And I heard you say you were an affiliate. I don't know if were you aware of these things?
Yeah. So what I did, so someone approached me a while back about Karatbars prior to the crypto launch. It was telling me to keep my eye on it or whatnot. So I was watching it from behind the scenes. So I actually set up an account, but I personally haven't really done much with it. And so I actually attempted to log in a while back, but forgot everything. So I personally, you know, for me now at this current point, prefer to get physical in my hand now. So I stayed away from anything crypto related, just because to me all that stuff is new and it's exciting, of course. But once again, it's in it because it's in the early phases. I look at it as being somewhat of a risk, given the fact that you're dependent on so many factors working together to make your your promissory activity a realization. Because you mentioned a bank in Miami, so apart from that being the first bank, that's great so people in that area can get access to it. But being in Detroit, you know, using my card and things of that nature it's gonna take some time, I believe, unless I'm misinformed. But between me and my goal, there's a couple different factors there, as opposed to getting it delivered in the mail like you mentioned. So that's what I personally would choose to do if I was to get on board and go full steam with the Karatbar. For now, anyway.
Right. I understand exactly what you're saying. All I would say is whoever got you in Karatbars, allow them to give you an update, because what they're doing is truly revolutionary. It's truly about to change the way the global financial payment system is done. Because as far as you keep mentioning the physical delivery of gold being delivered to you, they deliver the gold to you via FedEx. 24 karat, 999.9 pure gold. The savings account, as you know, is free. And you can save right now because of the creation of fast gold, which is a bank note that has gold embedded in the note, unlike the U.S. dollar that's backed by nothing.
I do like those. I like those, and I was actually going to buy some to give away on the show, but then I factor in what another issue I had was just the premium. You know, it's a little, you got to pay a little bit extra to be a part of everything.
That's all gone now. The company has advanced tremendously. When they launched their ICO of their gold-backed cryptocurrency in February of this year, they raised over $100 million during that ICO period for their gold-backed cryptocurrency. One of the most successful ICOs for cryptocurrency ever. And for people who had an issue with the price of the gold, they actually have met the LBMA prices. So the same price that people Google online right now for a gram of gold or a tenth of a gram of gold, you can get that from Karatbars right now at those prices.
Okay. Now watch this. Watch this. Now, get those prices because, if I'm not mistaken, it's being shipped from Europe, correct?
Yeah, the company's in Germany. That's correct.
And so, what's the shipping and handling look like to get you a 1 gram bar?
Now, if you decide to get a 1 gram, and the 1 gram right now is about $40, the shipping your shipping is the same. It depends on it's $20. It depends. I mean, the thing is, you're paying for shipping, but it's the value. I wouldn't, if shipping is why, you know, you would not, get, gold from a company because it's in Germany, that defeats the whole purpose of saving in gold. You know, it's not really a matter of shipping. It's a matter of the quality. Is it LBMA a certified gold? Is it, 24 karat 999.9, pure gold or not? And that's really what matters. The shipping, that's just the cost of doing business.
Right, no problem, no doubt, and that's real because it's a proven business model that's working. And so my only thing is, like, one of the things I'm excited about, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it's to get your weight up. Where with SD Bullion, about a couple miles from my house, it's the similar competitive price difference, and then shipping and handling is like $5. So I'm getting it at my house at $50, saving about $10. So this is a great opportunity as well that people should take advantage of, while also being involved in the opportunities through Karatbars. So it's definitely multiple ways of getting your weight up. So the most important thing at the end of the day, is get your weight up. So however you choose to do it, that's definitely working. but the biggest thing is just make sure you're heavy. So Karatbar definitely does a good job because people all around the world are excited about it. So that's a good thing.
And one thing I'll add to what you just said, which is so true, is that you mentioned SD Bullion. But are you an affiliate with SD Bullion? Do they give you like a referral fee?
Yes.
For people who acquire gold from them?
Yes.
Okay, so it's the same kind of way with Karatbar.
Yeah.
Except the compensation plan is much more lucrative in that sense. It's the same kind of affiliate program, but now Karatbar is in over 127 countries worldwide.
Yeah.
You know, they have never had an issue with delivering of the gold or making any of their payments to affiliates around the world.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I just wanted to get on a call because I'm happy to hear that you're an affiliate. You know, I definitely want to encourage you to really look into it, because if you'll market SD Bullion, there's no reason that you should, to market Karatbar, especially what they're doing in the cryptocurrency space. This is what gets me so excited about, because they've actually created their own blockchain protocol.
Okay.
And on their own blockchain protocol, not only is this, they have physical gold backed by gold, but the CEO on the 4th of July, 2019, he's coined it Gold Independence Day. And so just for anybody who's listening, 100 of their gold-backed cryptocurrencies will equal a gram of gold, guaranteed. So if you acquire some of our cryptocurrency, which is on our own exchange, which is caratbit.com, 100 coins guarantees you a gram of gold. So now it's just how many coins do you want to get? And right now the coin is trading on the market at a penny.
Right.
So there's the opportunity for people who are looking to really amass some wealth in the future of gold and cryptocurrency by acquiring a digital asset that's pennies, but that's backed by a physical asset, which is gold, that's represented in dollars, multiples of dollars.
Right, fair enough. Now, I appreciate the information, and so definitely that's something worth considering. So I'll definitely do a little research into it a little bit more, just because it's an opportunity that can get people's weight up. So I support getting your weight up however you want to do it. Long as it's 999.5 wine, I'll take it. So, Ricardo, man, I appreciate you calling in, boss, man. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, man. Appreciate your time.
Have a good one.
You too.
Yeah, man, that's real talk. Yeah, there's more than one way to get your weight up. So I'll support anybody who's promoting and encouraging getting your weight up, because at the end of the day, it's about how heavy are you for the most part. You know, how much more do you want to be? How much wealth do you want to preserve on the other side of this equation in the form of, you know, metals? And so one thing I want to definitely comment on is that a part of this this pyramid that I showed you guys is the idea of the terminology backed. And so I've been thinking about the word backed and how the word backed was introduced to us, because our monetary system started off with just pure metals. Then we had paper backed by metals. Then we had just paper, and then now we're in the digital age with the dollar being predominantly a digital currency already. Now we're transitioning to a new type of digital currency that's supposed to be a digital ledger technology that's decentralized. You know, that's the big hype now about being decentralized. But yet, I'm leery of going back to the term backed again, given that we already tried that once and we see how it ended up. It was just 30 or 40 years before that backed paper was then unredeemable. And so the question is, my thought would be, I would rather hold something directly than have a claim to something that's labeled as being backed. And so, Ricardo, with that currency, with the cryptocurrency you're referring to, this backed by physical gold, the word backed still to me associates with it claims to wealth. And so, you know, an idea that right now, because I do follow the coin, Karatbar coin, I think it's KCB or whatever, it's 0.01, whatever. And then to be able to redeem 100 of those coins to get a gram, is someone's taking a loss big time to back that. So my question would be, how long is that model sustainable? And so without even really knowing much about it, I'm not going to speak on it more, but I'm leery of the word backed, just because backed means there's counterparty risk outside of holding something tangible in your hand. And at this current moment, because how fragile everything is, I would rather just hold it personally and stay away from backed. That's just me. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike, it's Steve from Roseville, Michigan, man.
Steve from Roseville. How you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
Oh, great, man. Yeah, I want to touch on that Exodus Pyramid.
Yes, sir. Feel free to do so.
I was watching a program, Cambridge House. They were doing gold and silver summit, and one of the guys was talking.
Yeah, and that's what brought it to mind. So after watching that, that's what brought it to mind. But yeah, so go ahead.
Did you watch the milkshake theory?
The milkshake theory. No, I didn't watch all because there's a lot of videos. I watched the one where I was reminded of this. So go ahead, share it with us.
If you get a chance, check that one out. But what the guy was saying is, gold's at the bottom, so that's going to be the most liquid. But to get to gold, you got to go through the dollar. So to have physical cash is going to rise with gold.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
So to have the physical cash, not in the bank, but in your possession, he said it's going to be rising with gold.
Yeah, I do agree. I agree because when things hit the fan, as they are now, a lot of big hedge funds are going into cash to be ready to be able to acquire things when things go on sale. So cash will be very valuable when it's time to go shopping out here for all these assets that will drop in their price or be corrected to fair market value. So cash will be very valuable. But then here's my thing: after the reassessing of all these financial assets that are in a bubble territory now, I think the response will be monetary policy that will increase the monetary supply to try to paper over some of these problems. Hence the idea of cash becoming a problem, because it's going to be more cash than actually meets the needs of people directly to prop this system up. So that's when I see cash being a problem. But hopefully, being aware of the times, you can get out of it and get into something tangible before cash becomes a problem.
Yeah, so 100%. Before we hit that gold, man, we're going to have to use that cash, and it's going to have a real premium to that cash, because he said there's over, I don't remember what he said, but the physical cash, there's like hundreds and thousands of times more claim on digital cash than physical. So that physical cash in your hand, in your possession, you're gonna be able to buy a lot with it.
Yeah, and I did a video a while back mentioning basically how much paper is currently in circulation. It's only like 1.5 or 1.6 trillion dollars worth of paper in comparison to 30 trillion plus of claims to those same notes. So yeah, so basically it's not enough cash to go around for everyone who's expecting to be able to get a hold of that. So I think like a stack of $100 bills, if things became very chaotic, like it might be, will be worth a lot more than just a single dollar, in the fact that it's going to be so scarce. So yeah, who'd ever thought paper would be worth something for a short period of time, like it might be in that time frame. So we're telling people to rethink the dollar.
If we're rethinking the dollar, man, just like you said, man, rethink the dollar. It might have some value at the end of the day.
You got to know your time periods, I believe. Everything repeats itself, so there's going to be a time for it where it's going to be very valuable, and there's going to be a time where you don't want to be the last man holding it. You know what I'm saying? But hey, man,
all right, Mike, I love the content, man. I check you out every night, man.
Thank you, boss.
Check out that milkshake theory, man.
I will.
It was a great eye opener.
I will, my friend. Appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, brother. Peace.
All right, have a good one. Yeah, man. Good stuff there. Good stuff there. A fellow Michigander calling in. Appreciate you guys. Anyway, so for those that are watching, number above my head, 1-833-LIVE-RTD. Feel free to give a call and let your voice be heard. And once again, this is everybody's opinion. None of this is fact. Consider it all fiction until you do your own homework, your own research, and you come up with what works best for you. But we just like to bounce ideas off one another and educate and encourage one another in this time that we're in. So there's so many issues worth talking about. What's the next subject matter you guys want to cover? I actually was planning on doing a news video earlier. So here we go. Crypto Trader. It says, isn't the BACT ETF coming out soon for Bitcoin? Yeah, so the BACT, I think it's B-A-K-K-T, if I'm not mistaken, is coming. And I want to say it should be like this week, if I'm not mistaken. And I've heard a lot of back and forth about, how it can be harmful and how it can be, beneficial. But once again, this BAKKT is BACT, which is a NASDAQ. It's, one of the big wigs of big wigs doing this. They're using the words BACT or redeemable. So they're saying that, this ETF, is actually backed by digital Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, once again, is not physical. It's a computer algorithm program token, however it's broken down in a technical term. And so they're saying it's actually backed by physical Bitcoin or digital Bitcoin, however you want to word that. And so I'm thinking like, I wonder how long that's going to last before there's a hindrance to the amount of activity and the amount of profit they can make, because there's not enough Bitcoins to actually go around in abundance the way that this NASDAQ backed partnership with all these financial institutions will actually need to actually have in their physical possession as far as the code wise. And so once again, I think this backed is going to start off being labeled as you can redeem at any minute, get your Bitcoins out. But once again, people, there's a scarcity aspect to the first core Bitcoin of 21 million over the next how many every years, with 18 million or 17 million already in circulation, and more than half of that probably lost. So there's only probably 10 or so million circulating, and there's a lot of people who are sitting on large wads of Bitcoin. So where is this additional supply going to come from? And so, of course, there's more than enough Bitcoin to go around for everybody on this planet, but it's going to have to come at a much, 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 much higher price, i.e. the same situation with gold. And that hints into another topic I want to talk about, and it has to do with scarcity. Right now, in my opinion, is a great time to survey the land and find out what is there very little of that has current value and has long-term value, and look at the scarcity factor. It determines some value, because we all know the Federal Reserve notes and all other fiat currencies issued by central banks for their governments are plentiful. There's no amount that they cannot bring into existence to meet your demand, but the question will be, what can you acquire with it? So that lets me know that pretty soon, like always, because that's where our monetary system is based upon, credit expansion through monetizing debt, the money supply will continue to increase, but the amount of Bitcoin and other coins that are capped at a certain amount, there's going to be a scarcity factor that plays into all this, which lets me know that whether or not you are a crypto trader or not, or believe in cryptos, they're going to be of value, just because the monetary base is going to increase exponentially pretty soon, but you can't increase the amount of cryptocurrencies in existence. You can fork all you want, like the Bitcoin Cash fork. If you guys want to touch on that, feel free to. But once again, you can only fork so many times, but they're still capped off with that certain blockchain and name behind it. So once again, there's going to be some scarcity behind Bitcoin Cash or the SV or the ABC, whatever they're called. There's still a capped amount that can be created until it's forked again. So with that being the case, it's always going to have some sort of value in comparison to the amount of notes that can be created. So hence the idea of scarcity. Anything that's scarce right now is worth getting into, because you're guaranteed to have an increased amount of fiat currency. So that does meet the actual idea of supply and demand, as Ami just mentioned. So keep that in mind, people. Don't worry about the paper price today. Worry about the scarcity factor for the years ahead, knowing that there's only so much metals in the ground and so much above ground, but yet there's going to be an unlimited amount of paper trying to acquire those same goods, and it's not going to work in a pretty fashion. So that's just my little 2 cents. But anyway, feel free to call and let me know what's on your mind. We're going back and forth tonight. It says that most of our dollars are just digits on a computer screen. Yeah, and think about the idea that you look at total global debt. Let's look at this, because I wanted to mention that before. It says, let's look at global debt. So as I mentioned earlier, somebody's debt is also somebody's liability, is also somebody's asset on the other end of that equation, hence the idea of counterparty risk in between. And we know that the total amount of debt is a derivative. Yeah, the total